If you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. And I'm back. It's Michelle, Deception Bytes, and it's Sunday, November 11th, and it's 8:39 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, let me tell you first, before we get into the Q posts, that I did get your message about the webcam and it freezing in the last video. I don't know what the issue was, and I could keep checking every now and then to see if it's still running, but because once I'm on the other page, I can't see myself, which is good because I get distracted by myself. I find myself very distracting because I tend to go like this and that and go, oh, bedhead. And then, I see the shadows in the background and I want to do this and make little animals and like this. And it's just a hand. Relax, everyone. Okay. So anyway, I don't know about the webcam. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's going to be an issue going forward. I'll just get a new webcam. But for now, I'm going to use what I have because it's better than nothing. And you're just going to have to put up with the bedhead and the shadows. Anyway, okay, so here we go. We're going over there to the first one. We're picking up from where we left off yesterday. And we are looking at the first one here. And Q posted 2 of his previous posts from August 16th. And they're both about the military parade. And he says, breaking, Pentagon says military parade proposed for Veterans Day delayed at least until 2019. So remember, 11/11 was going to be this big military parade, and then it was called off. Q says no military parade this year. Breaking, Pentagon says military parade proposed for Veterans Day delayed at least until 2019. Beneath that, on the same day, Q said, timelines change. Watch the budget. Q. Now, beneath that, Q has said the following. Enemy at the front door. USSS, U.S. Secret Service, stay, alerts, prevent travel. A week to remember. Q. Okay. Now, what does he mean by that? Well, okay, Q is over in France right now, and before I get into talking about that, briefly, I want to talk about Jim Acosta, because as you know, Jim Acosta has lost his press credentials, his White House press pass, so he is no longer welcome on the White House grounds to be able to cover, press conferences, or whether it be the president himself, or whether it be Sarah Huckabee, Sanders, whoever, he is not allowed on the White House grounds. Now, we know why, and we can fully appreciate why. However, CNN decided that they were going to fully support him. So now Trump is over in France, and who do they send to France to cover Trump in France? They send Jim Acosta. Now, what does that tell you? They already know that he is not the president's favorite. He's been kicked out of the White House for repeatedly bad behavior, and yet they send him to cover Trump in France. Now, when I heard that, it was one of those things that make you go, And I don't consider myself stupid. I consider myself silly, but I don't consider myself stupid. And there was something in me that said, something's up with that. So then I saw that President Trump had foregone going to one of the memorials because of the weather. And I thought to myself, no way. No way a president, and especially a president like Donald Trump, says, I don't think I'm going to go. It's raining out. Nah, I think I'll stay here. That's not going to happen. You and I know that's not going to happen. So what was the real reason? Well, Q is telling us. Enemy at the front door. The USSS, U.S. Secret Service, stay alerts. Prevent travel. So he's telling us it was the Secret Service that prevented him from going, not the weather. And of course, the media made a big deal about that. Oh, they can, Macron can go and Merkel can go, but Trump, no, he's got to stay back because of the weather. Yeah, it wasn't the weather that he was staying home for. There was a credible threat against his person. Now, they have said that it was against Macron. No, it was against Trump. I believe, now, I could be wrong. I could be dead wrong. But I believe that the deep state was planning to assassinate President Trump. I believe CNN, as a little to Jim Acosta, said, why don't you go cover it? Why don't you go cover it? They probably knew that there was going to be a threat on the president's life, and they sent Jim Acosta to cover it. Now, could I be wrong? Absolutely, I could be. I'm just putting two and two together. I think it's very odd for CNN to send Jim Acosta, because if they really wanted to get a story, that would not be the person I would send. I don't think it's the person that anyone would send. I don't think I would trust Jim Acosta to go to the corner store for me. I certainly wouldn't trust him to feed my animals or to do anything of any sort of responsibility. I think he's a very nice looking man, but I think it ends there. As far as I'm concerned, I think that he is empty-headed. Now, perhaps he is just doing what his handlers are telling him to do, which is probably more like it. He could be a very intelligent man and is just doing what his handlers are telling him to do. But I think it's odd that he was sent there to cover that. And I think it's odd that, here's Q telling us that the stay alerts prevented him traveling. So there was a credible threat there, a credible one, or it wouldn't have changed his travel plans. So there you go. That's my 2 cents on that for what it's worth. And let's move on. Now, this is going to come as very good news to you guys and to me. Let the unsealing begin. What unsealing? Well, the unsealing of all those sealed indictments. And there are a lot of them. A lot. Then let the D-class begin. Now, this is interesting because it has an L that has been isolated and in kill brackets. Now, I don't know. I've thought about this, and I don't know what to think about it. We can read it as is, let the D class begin, and we know that the D class is coming next. We know that. We know that the unsealing is beginning. We know that. But what is this L that's isolated there? And I don't know. I really don't know. Could it, because if you take that L out, it could let the December AS begin. If you take the L out, let the December AS begin. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm not sure what to think about this. The longer I think about it, the more I'm thinking that I don't have the answer. So if any of you guys have heard someone else decode this, or if you yourselves have an answer, then please put it in the comments below, and we'll all be the wiser for it. So after that, it says, let the world witness the truth. We, the people, justice under the law. And that is what we all want. We want justice, but it's not just justice. We want justice under the law. We want them to be held accountable to the laws that govern our country, because for so long they've been acting as if they are lawless, and they are, as if the laws don't apply to them, and they don't seem to. So that is what we're all wanting, justice under the law. Well, it's good news because according to Q, it's happening. Now, so far, these are pretty normal Q posts, but we're going to get into, as we move on here, we're going to get into anything but normal. Anything but normal. So something's really up today, Today, I was looking for an incident to happen. I know a lot of people were, and I think that Q has given us the signal. I really do. So let's just push on here and go at it step by step and decode it. And we're going to move on to the next post. And it's the picture that we're all familiar with of the this shows the areas of undocumented immigrants, and when you lay that over with the areas that are mainly blue as opposed to red, you find that the areas that have the largest immigrants are mostly Democrats. Now, that's not surprising. They're also high crime areas. So that's interesting too. Now, Q asks us the following after posting this picture again, and it says the map where illegal immigrants live perfectly overlaps the blue counties where Democrats vote. Well, that shouldn't surprise us at all, because we know that if there's two groups of people that love to vote Democrat, it's dead people and immigrants. We just know that to be so, don't we? And in fact, I was reading somewhere that, I can't remember which state now, but they said that there was a huge number of people that had voted that would be over 114 years old. And, I was chuckling about that, because you know that a lot of illegal immigrants will take the will take social security numbers from people that have passed on and so forth. That has been going on for many, many years. Anyway, let's get into this post. What if the below could be proven? So Q is about to posit a bunch of things, and he's saying, what if we could prove these things? Now, if he's asking the questions, then they can prove it. Okay, so we don't have to worry about, oh, gee, I hope they can prove that. No, they've already got all the information. 1, election plus Democratic Party officials filled out many thousands of blank ballots. Okay, well, he's asking that as a question. We know that to be a fact. We can see that. We can see what has happened here, and we know that this has happened. Now, if Q is asking, what if the below could be proven, then they've got all the proof they need. You can just take that to the bank. 2, election plus Democratic Party officials removed and destroyed legal ballots. Now, we know that as well. We saw them taking ballots out in trucks, and also we know that people were transporting ballots in their own personal vehicles. Crazy stuff. So obviously that has also been proven, or else Q wouldn't be bringing it up. 3, election plus Democrat Party officials deliberately organized non-citizen voting. Oh, they wouldn't do such a thing, would they? Of course they did. Of course they did. They went to jails and signed people up, put them on the voters list in jails. People that had committed horrific crimes. And on Twitter, you could see the outrage from some of these people whose daughters or sons had been killed by these men and women. And here they're allowed to vote. They obviously organized non-citizen voting, and they organized the voting of people that really should not have been able or allowed to vote. So 4, election plus Democrat Party officials in XX locations across the U.S. under lock and key stored many thousands of blank ballots for purposes of altering the vote total. Now, that doesn't surprise me. And obviously, even though he's asking a question, we are very familiar with Q by now, and we know that Q, when he asks a question, he's really making a statement. And when he's asking if it could be proven, they've already proven it. So why are we all worried? I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit worried about it. I don't want these Democrats stealing elections that don't belong to them. If they won fair and square, then hey, that's what the game is all about. If they won fair and square, then let them win. But we know that's not the case. We know it's not. So they filled out blank ballots. They destroyed legal ballots. They organized non-citizen voting. They wanted to get the non-citizens to the polls so that they could vote. Plus, they had, under lock and key, stored thousands of blank ballots for the main purpose of altering the vote total. And we remember in Broward County, which is not a good example of anything, we saw that teacher that was friends of Gillum, that just found, in the school, like days after the election, this great big box of ballots for him. What are the odds? Now, Q is asking us, who safeguards blank ballots? Well, who do you think? Wasn't the Democrats? And I love that Trump said, they never find the Republican votes. Why is it they're always finding Democrat votes? Why the Democrats? Why don't they ever find Republican votes? That's a good question, right? Because if they were finding votes, wouldn't they be votes for both? I'm just saying. Who issues blank ballots? Well, I'm not sure who issues blank ballots. I don't know how and he says, who controls blank ballots? Well, those are questions that I can't answer. I don't know. And I'm not even sure I could answer that question about Canada, where their blank ballots come from, obviously from the government. I don't know what governs how many blank ballots are printed, and how do you keep people from falsifying ballots, like just printing their own, like people, counterfeit money. Why can't people counterfeit ballots? I don't know. I don't know what checks and balances there are in this country. There need to be more. But anyway, how many blank ballots are generated versus total county population? Well, I wouldn't think that they would send more blank ballots than the county has population. That wouldn't make any sense. And what percentage of a population really votes? Obviously, in a population, you've got babies, you've got children that are unable to vote, you've got people that are shut-ins, that are maybe elderly people that are not able to get out and vote. So a whole population doesn't vote. I don't know how they determine that. If you know, please let me know. I mean, some of you may have worked in elections and actually know the answers to these questions. And if you do, we want to know. So please put it in the comments below. If you've worked at an election, or you've supervised an election, or whatever. If you happen to know, if you're in law enforcement or whatever and just know, just please put it in the comments below. The control and issuance of blank ballots is key. Okay? Why did the same counties under dispute today refuse to turn over voter registration information upon request to the Voter Fraud Commission? Well, that's a good question. So maybe that has an answer. I mean, if you have the voter registration information, maybe you are sent enough ballots to cover who is registered to vote, and maybe a few others, because I know people can register to vote on the day of voting, I believe. So I don't know. Why was the Voter Fraud Commission disbanded and turned over to Department of Homeland Security? Well, probably to prevent foreign interference in the election, because they are the Department of Homeland Security. And if there's one thing that we need to be secure, it's our voting, right? Our elections need to be secure. Otherwise, we have nothing, right? I mean, if we can't even trust that our vote is being counted, and that, who we voted for collectively is getting into office, if we can't even be sure of that, we can't be sure of anything. We're anything but secure. So that makes sense to me that they would turn it over to Department of Homeland Security. That makes perfect sense to me. What vested authority does DHS have compared to a commission body? Well, I would say that they have federal authority. I don't know. I think that they would have much more authority than a commission body has, because they're federally mandated. I don't know. But anyway, Q is giving us a link, and then at the end of this post, he's saying enemy at the front door, Q. Well, I think that has many applications here. Obviously, if people are destroying votes or making up votes, they are an enemy of the people, right? Absolutely, they are. And they are not in the best interest of our country. They're not doing anything. Well, what they're doing is highly illegal, but it's also extremely detrimental to the whole process. So let's go take a look at this link. I don't know why I'm really in a silly mood tonight, but I'm trying to be serious. Okay, without evidence, Trump and Sessions warn of voter fraud in Tuesday's elections. Now, I can't get to all this because it's the Washington Post. I probably do need to break down and pay that $1 a month, but gosh, I don't want to. All right, now, so anyway, it says, without evidence, Trump and Sessions warn of voter fraud in Tuesday's election. So, of course, they're already ahead of this and spinning it that Trump is just making this up. There's no validity to the claim that there's any voter fraud, even though you would have to be, I bet you a child viewing what was going on in Broward County would know. Really, how stupid do they think we are? They think we are pretty darn stupid because, anybody can tell. You just know that Broward County was, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about them. Excuse that cough. Now, let's go up to this one, because after this post, things go wonky with Q. And I don't mean that in any way being disrespectful of Q, but, well, we'll get to it. So we have this nice picture, backlit American flag. Underneath it says, with respect, honor, and gratitude, your sacrifices will never be forgotten. Thank you and God bless veterans, Q. And I would like to add to that as well that we are thankful for the service of our men and women who have fought in past wars and, are serving their country now. And that includes law enforcement, everyone that is serving our country. We do thank you for that sacrifice. Now, we're going to move on here. And here is where something gets really strange. Now, I've put this explanation here from Lisa Mae Crowley because I like the way she said it. Wow, loving the looks of this. Shortly after the previous Q drop, and that's the drop that we just read with the American flag, all drops on the Patriots fight board were deleted with the exception of the post regarding patriots and traitors, and replaced with placeholders for impending unsealed indictments and Supreme Court rulings, related documents versus deep state traitors. Now, when that happened, because I'm sorry, I've got a hair that is just like driving me crazy under my glasses and I can't seem to get to it. Right after Q posted that with the flag and thanking our veterans, all the posts left the 8chan. They were all gone. They're just gone. And what they were replaced with was placeholders. And the placeholders look like this. Okay, now we're going to go through them. But it's odd. It's very odd. And it's strange because during that time as well, I was trying to get to the board and I was getting a 50, is it a 501 or 502, 503 error? I can't remember now. In fact, let's go out and see if I can get on there. Q, because I want to show you guys. Q, there we go. Hang on. I want to show you guys in case some of you don't feel comfortable navigating the boards, and I understand that. I'm completely fine with that. It's just that sometimes I like to show you so that you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, these are all the Q drops on QAnon.pub, but as you know, these are pulled from another board over to here. So when Q posts on that board, they pull them over here so that they can all. It's just easier to read this way, and they can be they're archived. So. Now, let's see here, when we go back over to the board where Q has been posting, which we're about to do, this is what we get. Now, it's still there, Patriots fight, and it is the 8chan, but there's only these posts. All other posts, and this is the posts, these are the posts that were made after the American flag post. Everything disappeared. Now, people can say, "Oh, maybe the board was attacked." I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. And in the place of all those, we had these little texts that are called placeholders. Never seen these before. This is new. Q has never done this before. But what are these placeholders? Now we can get excited, because we know that something unusual is taking place here. Q has never done this before. I don't believe that the board's under attack, because when the board's under attack, Q usually says the board's under attack, or you see it on Twitter or all these other places that I follow. Usually I'm well aware of when the board is being attacked. So this isn't that. And let's go back here and start reading these placeholders, and I think you're going to start getting excited, because I did. And maybe that's why I'm so silly tonight. Maybe some of that, dread or whatever I had about the incident has dissipated some. So let's start. Placeholder, indictments, tracking. And then it says civilian. And we have that in kill brackets. So placeholder, indictments, tracking, civilian. So there are civilian indictments. Okay? Then we've got placeholder, indictments, tracking, non-civilians. We've got civilians and non-civilians, all right, that are in the indictments. And these little placeholders, I'm not exactly, I don't know, I think there's more to this than just what it appears, but to me, after next week, our world's going to be very different. And I think it's going to start maybe Monday, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. We're going to start seeing we're going to see the declassification, and we're going to see these indictments. That's what I think. Placeholder. Supreme Court rulings. Challenges. Civilian, non-civilian. So, there's going to be challenges because some of these indictments are civilian and some of them are non-civilian. Supreme Court rulings, USA versus defendant appeals. So, interesting. Then, placeholder, branch, terminations. Now, that's interesting. Branch, termination, and then S, plural. Placeholder, leaks, plural. It's odd, branch termination. I wonder, what does that mean? I'll tell you, I had a very long conversation, which is, I meant to get to this earlier tonight, but I had a very, very long conversation with a friend in Georgia, and we were talking about this and he said, "Michelle, tell me what you think. Tell me what you really think is coming." And I said, "Okay, I'll tell you first what I think Q is saying. Second, my personal opinion." Now, we're not going to get into my personal opinion here tonight, but I will tell you what I think, what I think is coming. I don't think, based on what I know about Q and what I've read about Q and what I've studied about Q, and it's been over a year now, I don't think that in January, it's going to be the House, Congress is not going to look like it does now. Because some of those people are going to be arrested. Some of those people may never ever serve in Congress that are now elected, may never serve a day. Now, I don't know. I think that January is going to be looking very, very different, and we may not even have, our government may not even look the same as it looks now. Like when they're saying branch terminations, maybe there are some branches of government that will be terminated altogether. I don't know. I think there's going to be martial law. I think that Q has indicated that. I think when all this declassification comes and all the indictments, these sealed indictments against very high target, people, very high profile people, what's going to happen? I don't think everybody's going to be like, yay. I don't think so. I think they're going to need to keep order, law and order, and they're going to need to keep our streets safe. I do believe that civil law or martial law is coming. I do. I don't believe our government, when it returns in January, is going to look the same as it does now. I don't. I don't think the same people are going to be there. I don't even know if some jobs will be there. I don't know. But I just think that it's about to hit the fan. It's really about to hit the fan. And it's going to hit the fan before the end of this year. And that's what I believe based on what I know about these posts, of what's been posted and what I see happening and how I'm interpreting it. We're not going to be living in the same country. Now, what that will look like, I don't know. I'm positive. I'd like to believe that it's all going to be positive. I don't know. There will be military tribunals, and then the civilians are going to have to be tried as well. So, I don't know. But let's go on here. Placeholder, acts of treason plus support articles. So they're going to be brought to account for the acts of treason, but there's going to be a lot of support for that. I don't think that it's just going to be, okay, well, she's, Hillary, we're going to charge her with treason. No, there's going to be all the documentation that you would ever want. And I think a lot of it is going to be in the public arena. I think we are going to know what these people actually did. Now, we may not know all of it. They may not get into the pedophilia and the, the really, really bad stuff. I don't know. Now, here's another one. Placeholder, 5i, publication. Placeholder, FISA, publication. So all that information that they got from 5i, that's going to be published. That's going to be made public. FISA, it's going to be made public. It's going to be declassified. Placeholder, declass, general, publication. Placeholder, special, C, pub. I'm not exactly sure what that means. In fact, I don't know what all of these placeholders really mean. I do know the declass is coming. I believe it's coming this week. The indictments, they're ready to go. And Sessions did his job. He's got all those indictments ready. They're ready to go. They're ready to roll. And they had to, attack this step by step. And that's what's been happening. So, now here is the last Q post, although it's odd because this post is on this board, which is this board. This is the post we're looking at right here. But when you go over here, oh, maybe it is there now. I don't know. Yeah, it takes you to the board, but it doesn't have that specific post. So that is odd to me. I don't know. But anyway, let's go take a look at it. I'm assuming this board hasn't been wrong before. So I'm assuming this is from Q as well. And let's take a look at what it is that he wants us to look at, which is an article by NBC News. So we already know it's a lie. Maybe, I don't know. Ratcliffe Gowdy join list of potential attorney general picks. Congressmen, confidants, and TV commentators are among those being considered by the White House. Don't know. Washington, 2 members of Congress, a cabinet official, a presidential confidant, and a frequent guest on Fox News are among those being considered by President Donald Trump to be the next Attorney General, multiple sources tell NBC News. One of those, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, was a close advisor to the president in his 2016 presidential campaign. He has been largely sidelined by the administration since then, but resurfaced at the White House on Thursday for what White House officials said was for a previously scheduled meeting on prison reform. Representative John Ratcliffe, Republican, Texas, and retiring Representative Trey Gowdy of South Carolina have also joined the list of those in the running, the sources say. Ratcliffe, a former political appointee of President George W. Bush, who was later appointed to be U.S. Attorney of the Eastern District of Texas, has become a top candidate. Well, so they are already banting about who's going to be the next. I don't know. I don't know if any of these, this is interesting. Says Senator Susan Collins of Maine said the Mueller probe must be allowed to continue. Senator-elect Mitt Romney tweeted, "It is imperative the probe continues." And Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina said it will undoubtedly be an important issue during the confirmation. Oh, please. I'm so sick of the whole Mueller thing and Russia, and oh my gosh, it's ad nauseum. It's crazy. It's craziness. And it's costing the taxpayer money, but nobody seems to care about that. All right, well, that is all there is for Q. And I would say, personally, that I think that next week, and Q said that. Now, I know, as soon as you start saying that, people are like, oh, it's always next week, it's always next month, it's always the next day, it's always, nothing ever happens. Oh my gosh, you people that are saying that nothing ever happens are not paying attention. Seriously. I can't believe it when people say, oh, nothing ever happens. Are you kidding me? Really? I don't know. Now, I want to show you one more thing. Now, I haven't seen anybody else talk about this, but as soon as I saw it, I zoned in on it. Because when I worked for, well, it was quite a few years ago, but I worked at Lowe's corporate office in Mooresville, North Carolina. I happened to work with a man that was deaf. And our team, in order to be able to communicate with him properly, and now he did have somebody with him to interpret meetings and so forth, but we were expected to learn sign language and be able to, just be able to wish the man, a good day or talk to him about anything. We needed to learn a little bit of basic sign language. So as soon as I saw this, immediately it just jumped out at me. Let me show you first. It may not mean anything to you, and you may say, "Oh, come on, you're pushing it there," and maybe I am. But let's take a look at this picture. Now, I can't really make it that much bigger, but I'm gonna try and make sure that you see it. Okay, look at everybody's hands here. Here is Putin. He has his hands down. Here is Macron's wife, and she's got her hands folded with gloves on, and here's Merkel. And their hands are all pretty normal, and this hand on Trump is normal. That is not normal hand. That's not, when you relax your hands, your hand does not go into that position normally. What is that? What is that? Do you know what he's doing? He's signing Q. That's what he's doing there. He is signing the letter Q. Now let me show you the letter Q in sign language. Right there. That's it. That's exactly what he's doing. He's doing the letter Q. That's what he's doing, as far as I'm concerned. Now, maybe just relaxing, he's thinking about something, and maybe he wasn't aware of what his hand was doing. I don't know, but you know what? Usually world leaders, they know what their hands are doing. They know people watch those things. They don't make errors like that. Uh-uh. So, for what it's worth, I think that Donald Trump was over there in France and he was signing Q. Meanwhile, Q was dropping his posts telling us that the D class is getting ready to start. Now, you can believe that the deep state is in utter terror and panic tonight. So, there you go. That's what I believe. I also believe that there was probably a credible attempt on his life, or at least that there was credible threat there, and the Secret Service did their job. And we are thankful for the Secret Service. Anyway, that's what I think. I think that they sent what's his face, Acosta, to cover it. So that's it. That's all Q for tonight, and I'm probably not going to come back and do another video because I would like to keep studying and looking into some stuff and researching tonight, but I will be back tomorrow. If there are no Q posts, I will be back with Q related news. So I do thank you guys for listening. Thank you to you guys that buy me coffee and stuff. I really, really appreciate it, and I've got to get up to date on my thank yous because I've been very negligent. So I do apologize for that. I am very, very grateful, and I do really appreciate it. And thank you for all the comments too. I just get such a kick out of all the comments that you leave. Sometimes I'm here all by myself giggling away at your comments, but that's great. Anyway, so, yep, I'm still there, and there, still, yeah. See what you can do when you make shadows? Awesome, man. It's awesome. Okay, well, that's it for tonight. I hope you have a good night. Rest well. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.